don't have a joke for this week.
The hell?
Sorry. Hang on.
I feel like we need a joke. I got it. Maybe I can come up. I have a really inappropriate joke that I can't say.
Oh, but can you?
No. It's bad.
Oh, it's that bad?
No, it's really bad. It's
that
socially inappropriate. It's not like racist or anything, but it's just not something we could say.
Oh, here's one. Where do ghosts go on vacation?
Where?
Malibu.
I got it.
Basically, you just Google topic dad jokes.
Yes, and something good comes up. I have to say, for anybody who listened to our Bigfoot episode, that my older sister, she's like one of my best friends, and she listened to it, and she didn't get the meter joke either. And
I
until then, when I got it and it clicked, and it said, well, it just made me feel it wasn't a bad joke. I just had I have moments. My brain moves slowly sometimes. Okay, especially after a cocktail,
or 3.
Yeah, or 3. Look, what we've realized is sometimes the banter is better with a mini shot.
Also, what we've realized is we are moms of large families with all the things plus working, and sometimes it takes us a second to get into the right mind
and
space.
Decompress, because we feel like we enjoy it when it's going on, but it is getting into the mind space of it to make sure that we're like not grumpy, exhausted moms, like how I feel like I am 99.9% of the time. Yeah.
But I want to be real about that, because that's kind of why we're doing this.
Yeah.
Because I think there's a lot of people that can relate to us.
No, 1,000%. I agree.
So we're starting a Tired Mom Ghoul Club.
It's the lunatic.
The lunatics.
Lunatic moms. I don't know.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Trademark coming.
We need a t-shirt or sweatshirt everyone can wear that's like something about being what a lunatic mom means.
Yeah, like with the then it says all the meanings underneath.
Yeah, like what it looks like in a dictionary. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like, ooh.
I have some friends that have asked for hats.
Yeah, we are going to do merch. We just haven't gotten there yet.
Not yet.
Yeah, we've just been busy that's my next step is website, and merchandise is my next
I just
project.
want like a ball cap that says, like a black ball cap with white letters that says Lunatic.
Yeah, me too.
That's what I want. And
I
wear
want
it
a
every day.
sweatshirt like that. That just says Lunatic, but I actually might want mine to say soup really small below it, so it's like Lunatic soup, and then, or soup on the back. Who knows?
I like that.
Yeah, something like that.
We're not going to wear sweatshirts today because it's hot.
Yeah, we're in Western Washington, and it is normally
50,
maybe 60 max. It is 87 degrees
Yeah,
today?
I think it hit 90. My greenhouse was 110 degrees.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, so most houses that are not newly built here, but like built, I don't know, anytime before like 2018, 15, whatever, do not have air conditioning.
Nope.
And so I actually just read something today that they were saying that every house needs to have air conditioning now. And we're like, no shit. So my house just has we just put the units in the window because this is not our forever home. We plan to move hopefully in the next 6 months. But
buy our merch so she can move.
Yeah, exactly. Buy the merch so I can get the hell out of this house. But it's not worth me putting a whole ducted system in to just move out. And it doesn't have the value of your home here either.
So it's like $10,000.
Yeah, so it's irrelevant.
Crazy.
But we are sitting in my office with no air conditioning.
Nope.
It's a bit sweaty.
If you're watching, like, we look great.
Some under boob sweat going on. Maybe it's just me, but
everything sweat. Everything is sweating.
Swass. Do you know what swass is?
Oh, swamp ass.
Oh, sweaty ass. But
So if you haven't figured out already, this is a little bit different of an episode. I realize on the first episode we kind of talked a little bit about us.
Yeah.
But not a lot.
Yeah.
So this is kind of, there's no script to this episode. This is us chit-chatting and talking about who we are and what we want for this podcast.
Perfect.
Basically.
I love that.
Yeah. But first, hello and welcome to Lunatic Soup, the podcast where we go into all things wild, weird, and unknown. I'm your host, Meg.
And I'm Reyna. Let's brew up some lunatic soup.
What cider do we have?
Oh, today we have we've had ciders from this place before, I think for the first episode, right? One of them. Anyways, Fierce County, which is, or maybe second episode, but our favorite cider house it's in Puyallup, Washington. And this one is a hazy raspberry.
I figured it was hot enough today. We needed something summery.
Yeah, and it is.
It looks like almost like a grapefruit color.
Yeah, and it is
so
hazy.
Pretty.
It's hazy.
Oh, that's really good.
It's delightful.
That's really
And then
good.
we, like usual, put lime in it to make it a sour slut, which, you know. But we didn't do fresh lime this time. I just did lime juice because I'm tired. Meg's like, what's wrong with you? And I was like, no, I'm just exhausted. I don't have the effort to cut up the lime today.
That's fine. You had the effort to pour the cider.
I did pour the cider. You know, such a big deal. But yeah, no, it's a really yummy, not super sweet.
Not super sweet at all, but still that hint of summer.
Yes, hint of summer, and it's raspberry, and I love raspberries. Like fresh summer to me. That like fresh raspberries.
Oh, that's got to go on like the top list.
Oh,
that
definitely.
Is so good.
This one and that Gin Cran. That's the other one from there. That one's so good too.
Everything from there has been good. They have a rosé.
Yeah,
that's really good. Which apparently a rosé is a cider.
You said that.
I was at a cider place in Leavenworth, Washington, and there was a rosé for the cider flight, and I'm like, is that a cider or wine? And they said because of the way it's made, it's considered a cider.
Interesting.
I do love a rosé.
I love a rosé too. But wouldn't it be, it's only cider if it's made from apples or something like that. Because technically rosé wine is made from grapes.
It's rosé.
Riddle me this.
Is rosé a wine or a cider? They're like wines, but are ciders.
Because of how they're made, even though they're made with grapes?
I guess.
Someone needs to weigh in on this. Someone let us know.
Rosé ciders get their color from a variety of different ways. Grape skins, fruit, so they still make them out of grapes.
Interesting. Yeah, they still have grapes in it.
But then there's something, it might be a beer. I don't know.
Well, I can tell you if you are a rosé drinker, I have a little summer hack for you.
This was really good.
Yeah, Meg she came over and I was drinking it. Well, you have to like jalapeno. And you don't necessarily need to not like super spicy things.
Spicy.
But if you enjoy the flavor of a jalapeno, especially fresh jalapeno, you take like an ice cold glass of rosé and you cut a little bit of jalapeno.
Very small
And put it in there. And it just kind of elevates it. I don't know. It's delightful. I saw it from a girl on TikTok. Weird.
Everything's from TikTok.
Weird. Everything for me is. I'm going to talk about that all day today, I'm sure.
Hey, TikTok's got its uses.
TikTok literally guided me through my spiritual like awakening that I went through. Without TikTok, I think I would have thought I was actually
insane,
batshit crazy. But then I ended up on the side where they explained things and I was like, okay, it's not just me.
No, it's not just you. That kind of gets into what we're going to get into today.
It does.
I have up another episode so I can kind of see the order, make sure we do the right things. And okay. I have one like after our cider introduction. It's called the bullshit hour. That's what I have in the
bullshit hour. What do we want to bullshit about today?
I mean, I think we're doing a good job of it right now. Then after that is Mr. Boo Boo.
We're bringing up Mr. Boo Boo. Is he going to have to come sit in?
I don't think we have any Boo Boos from the last episode.
No, but we did from the one before, and he
was not in the mood to Boo Boo.
Yeah, well, technically it'd be the second one.
Yeah.
It's about the sandworms.
From Tremors.
The Mongolian death worm. And so let me just be clear, in that episode, I initially go Star Wars, and then I second guess myself because
you did.
Star Wars is like Harry Potter, and I didn't want the fans to get on me and yell at me. The fans, I mean my husband. I'm not sure which thing I'm talking about. But
one in the same.
But then what I actually realized is once we were done recording, and I was like, oh, it's Beetlejuice. But it wasn't Beetlejuice. That when I saw it, I was like, maybe that was it, and I went with it. But what I actually was thinking about, other than initially it was Star Wars, was Guardians of the Galaxy 2. And there's an opening.
I haven't seen that one.
Oh my God. There's the opening scene, and they're all fighting this huge, like, worm with a bunch of teeth.
Because you did say someone, like, Chris Pratt or something.
Yes, I did. I had the right thing.
Yeah,
I just got them all kind of mixed up. Anyways, if you've seen it, and it's like all oldies music because, that's how it is. It's so good. And they're fighting and Baby Groot's like dancing around to it. You have to see that. I'm going to make you watch the opening. It's so
okay,
good.
Well, I'll watch it.
Anyways, but that's what I was thinking about, guys. But
you know what you're talking about.
I did. I think. No, I did.
So no Mr. Boo Boos today. I think we're good.
I don't know, unless we'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. Who knows?
Might get crazy at the end of the episode.
We still have time to mess up.
Yeah. Fuck.
So, obviously we both are interested in a wide array of things. If you've made it this far in the podcast, we've covered quite a few different topics, and that's kind of what we want to do.
Yeah.
I'm interested in more of the creepy and the kooky. You're interested in more of the spiritual side of things.
Yeah.
And we're both interested in the other, but we both bring this to the table.
Right. Like, that's why a lot of times when you have, what you write about are things that I am not aware of just because it's not that I don't find them interesting. I just I've never researched it. I've never, looked into it. And I'll hear about things, but it's not necessarily something that I would go seek out myself. But then I love hearing about it because I do enjoy, cryptids and obviously hauntings. Duh.
Yeah.
But anything paganism too, I'm,
We are getting set up to go to our haunted house in Port Campbell, Washington.
So excited about that.
Yeah, I've been emailing back and forth with I don't know what you call him, a curator or whatever. I don't know. But pretty excited about that. So that's going to be a good show. And we have some haunted tours coming up in Tacoma, Washington.
Yes, that was one. One of my friends wants to come with us on that.
Perfect.
And probably text. So I just feel like let's get a big group of us and...
I think it'll be good. We have to film it though.
Well, yeah, but that's also we bring other people and make sure they're filming us too. Not our favorite part, guys. Not our favorite part.
I think that's important to bring up too. Is that we are very uncomfortable doing this half the time.
I'm better than you are because I have owned my own business for a lot of years, and one of the biggest things when I was hired a business coach is you have to put your face out there and you have to get comfortable showing yourself because your brand is you. Yeah. And so I've been trying to force Meg, but it feels cringy AF to me. But I saw something on TikTok today that said, can you believe it, you guys? I saw it on TikTok, that they said the cringier they were and stopped caring what people thought, the more followers they got because they were more authentically themselves.
And I think at the end of the day, if that's what we succeeded with this podcast, then we won.
Yeah.
And then we won. Yeah. And if we can inspire one person to be kind more of just be them,
authentically
then we
yourself.
Won.
And I think that is also, this is another fold to it. Yes, showing ourselves on the internet is one thing, but what we're going to talk about today are a lot of the sides of us that is in this podcast are things that I never thought I would share with people outside of my very close family and friends. This is not something I actually thought I would ever put out for other people to hear about. So right now I'm actually having a mental crisis of what am I doing? Because it's the only thing I'm worried about is what people are going to think. But why does it matter?
It doesn't matter, but I'm with you on that one. I have family that I'm not sure how they're going to accept this.
Yeah.
I have coworkers, people that I work with that some of you have already found our social media pages. You know who you are.
That has been mine too. So we made the Instagram. This is all just being honest. We made the Instagram and I said to Meg, I was I am not ready for this side of me to be out. I don't want people who I'm friends with on Instagram to find us. So I tried to lock it down the best that I could so that people could not find our Instagram page that knew us. Because also everything at first was trying to get audio right. And we wanted to launch, but we wanted it to be good before we shared with people what we did. Well, then fucking people from all aspects of my life started following me, people in Australia who I love my Australian friends and family, but it's very small town vibes there. And I don't know that this is a side that I'm ready for all of them. Every time I have a new person follow me who's someone I know, I get extreme anxiety because I'm ooh. And a lot of people who are following it know this side of me, or some, but some. But yeah, it makes me nervous.
It's a lot. But again, not only do we just want to be out there and just kind of for our own selves to kind of let down the mask and let's just be us, but we're also doing it for our potential listeners who are struggling with that. And we have 7 daughters.
No, and that's what I want them to grow up being
comfortable with who they are, what they believe.
And not having to fit in the social norms, which is what I felt like I've had to do most of my life is to be where I was. I had to be a certain way, and that is not who my true self is, but I'm a fantastic masker. So this is me taking, literally feel like I'm stripping myself butt naked in front of everyone and being let my titties flapping in the wind. I hope that gave everyone a really good visual. You remember this from my husband's birthday party, which is when we met Well, not met. The first time we hung out.
No, it's the first time we were together in person besides kindergarten.
Yeah, but like in a social, in a social setting of like whatever. And so my dad has a shirt from Mexico that has women and all different kinds of boobs. And all the boobs have names under them.
I remember that.
So for my husband's 40th theme was Holy Tits Texas 40. So I literally threw him a boob-themed birthday party.
There was lots of boobs.
Tits everywhere, which, you know.
Not real ones, pictures of ones.
Yeah. But
drawings.
Boobs are fun. It was a good time. But so I printed out a poster board of the boobs and I put at the top like pick your tits. Anyway, so I had this poster and it said pick your tits, so everyone's going around picking their tits. And it's like some are called balloons, some are watermelons, some are mailbags, some are pointing to different directions, cranberries, oranges, peaches. Like there's all the ones. They're really good though. But I feel like I got some straight up mailbags now. They used to be peaches and now they're deflated balloons is what I like to call them. Children, man.
Children. That's what they do. That's what they do to us.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Ruin our...
everything.
Just kidding. I love my kids.
I love them so much.
Didn't they give us a fantastic Mother's Day yesterday?
Fantastic.
Yeah.
No fighting.
Yeah, no. They were all... No, like, bringing me breakfast in bed and then crying because one sister said something to the other, so they sat on my bedside crying while my husband was trying to, like, finish doing dishes and whatever and meltdowns. And, yeah, they were all super nice. No attitudes. Not.
It's great. It's great. And it was like 100 degrees outside.
Yeah.
It's fine.
But after we got out of my house, I had a better day. Because I went out on the boat. Yeah, I went out on my parents' boat. And then we went to their house and had a pool party. So it was fun.
Awesome. So back to like all the things.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna talk a little bit about our... Oh, I hate this word.
I know.
I hate this word, and I think a lot of it has to do with my upbringing.
Well, I also realized, when you told me what episode we were doing, I like Googled just like what the standard word or definition was for this word.
Uh-huh.
And then I was like, oh, I hate that too. And no wonder it has like such a negative thing. But
I think, so we're going to talk about our witchiness.
Mm-hmm.
That word, I grew up in a very conservative household.
Yeah.
That was a bad thing, a bad word, a bad person, all the bad things.
Yes.
But I don't know another word that encompasses all of this. An outlier, someone who relies on nature. I have a greenhouse where I grow all the herbs.
Yes.
I totally believe in Western medicine.
Right.
100%. If it wasn't for Western medicine, I have a daughter that would not be here.
Right. Same.
But I also like to take a natural approach to things.
Right.
I do believe in energies. I do believe in auras. I do believe that are crystals just a bunch of rocks? Yes. But does everything have a vibration? Yes. Are there certain crystals that have a higher vibration and can you make you feel better? I do believe that.
So do I. Yeah.
So there's all these different things that I think we're going to talk about, and this is where the whole stripped down naked metaphor comes in.
It really, but isn't it really? Like you feel like that a little bit because it is. Especially for people who don't know this side of us. Like you're saying, your coworkers are going to hear this. Those are my kids' teachers.
Yes.
Because our kids are at the same school, and that makes me nervous as hell, too. Like, that's like...
Although, funny, we were hanging out one day planning for this podcast, and I got a phone call from my daughter's teacher, who is not her daughter's teacher, from my daughter's teacher.
And they're
I'm
in
like,
the same grade.
Oh, no. And it was her cell phone, so I picked it up right away. I'm like, hey, is everything okay? She goes, yeah. Is Reyna there?
And this teacher and I don't know each other.
And I'm like... Why, yes, she is. Her kid needed to be picked up, and
she got the pink eye at school. Yeah. It was really bad.
Yeah, anyways, and so they wanted to contact mom individually. And
yeah,
all
but my daughter knew that I was with Meg because I had said I was bringing our puppy over to her house for a play date. So her teacher called my phone, and I didn't have service at your house.
Oh, and so
my daughter's teacher. Knew. So then my daughter was like, "Oh, she's at Meg's house," and so then her teacher knew how to get a hold of you. Yeah.
Why, yes, she is.
Why, yes, she is. Here. I was so confused too. I was like, for me?
What?
Sorry, what? Anyways.
But yeah, so do you want to kind of go into it first? Like,
sure. Like what?
Yeah.
Where do you think I should start?
We've already kind of talked about like the old hag and that experience. Right. And so let's go more modern. Like, when did you decide that, yes, this is the path that you're going to take. Yeah. This is the life that you want to
presented to me. So this is essentially like growing up especially in my early teen years, I saw a lot of ghosts, had a lot of things that, you know, when you feel things, you know things are around, you're aware, terrified me. And also the social groups I was a part of and the people I just didn't want that side of myself to be out there because people don't believe it. You're weird. It's not weird.
And let's just for the sake of whatever, we're using the phrases and the terms that we use. Ghost, spirit, whatever. That's what we use. If you use a different one, that's great.
Fine.
That's totally fine. Totally. This is just our vocab right now.
Yeah, this is my vocab and my story of how it all came to be. And so then I suppressed it for a very long time. And I would still have occasional things that would happen. It was always there, but it was something that I suppressed. And then when COVID hit, I started going through probably the hardest time for myself ever mentally. And I have been a person with very solid mental health. I've never had any issues up until COVID hit. That was the first time I ever experienced anxiety and depression.
Are going to relate to
that.
Right.
And that is, and so it was at that point I realized like I was getting too angry about things. All the things, I decided to go into therapy, which was great. And I was in therapy for a long time. But during that process, things just started to amp up. And I found myself seeking out someone that I had my therapist, but I needed like almost like a spiritual therapist, like somebody who like could connect and see what was going on with me. And I found this really amazing girl, which we can link her. Her name was Madison England. And
yeah, you've told me about her.
Yeah. And her page was like, it's called It's Already Yours, but she was great. She's a young girl. She's like in her early 20s, beautiful, lives in Miami. And I went to her for a Reiki healing session, and that was my first experience with that. And it was unbelievable. And during that session, she told me that I had essentially like a negative entity or something like attached to my throat chakra that was helping me, or not helping me, but like
preventing you.
Yeah, or it was also making me not the nicest person that I've always been.
Okay.
And after that was removed, it kind of like cleared a lot of shit. I also at the time had a friend of ours who ended up not being a friend. We had a falling out, and he turned out to be a crazy narcissist, but I know that his family runs or has witches in their line, in their lineage, which at the time I didn't realize that I was a part of that.
Yeah.
But I do believe he sent a lot of negativity my way.
And I think that people can do that and not
intentionally. No, it's not even intentionally. Yeah.
You're not saying, hey, you bad spirit, go here. But I've had experiences where I think someone's negative thoughts towards me has literally sent that negative energy, and it presents how it's going to present.
And so I went through all of that. And I ended up like seeing this girl weekly almost just to try and figure out. So we did a lot of past life regression where she went into my past lives.
I've never done that.
It is so cool. Honestly, it's like it helps you figure out like things that you struggle with right now, the reasons why you do. Mm-hmm. It's crazy. But train of thought. Hang on, it's got to come back to me. I was going with
past life regression. You were talking.
But what were we saying before? Okay. But this girl told me that I was something that's called an indigo child.
Oh, I wrote an episode on that. Yes.
So we will go into what an indigo child is, but it's essentially like if you're the black sheep in your family and...
Check.
Yeah, and it's like people don't always want to understand you, and also when people are content with their own family trauma and not wanting to heal it.
Check.
And I'm not going to discuss a lot about my family just because out of respect and...
We don't need to.
Going there, you know, I won't say that I'm like the black sheep of my family by any means. However, there are certain things where I feel like who I am is not the same as they are sometimes. And it was like that first real moment that I was like, okay, maybe I'm a part of this family to help change things. And
I think stopping generational trauma is a big thing.
Yes.
Is a big thing.
But then also she told me, she was like, she goes, have you always been drawn to like witchy things? Like as in like you love witches, you like movies about witches, like, you know, all these things. And I was like, yes, every year for Halloween as a kid, I wanted to be a witch. And I love all the witchy movies. Like I love Practical Magic and Hocus Pocus and what's the one with Angelica Houston and the mice? The witches. Yeah. Anyways, I've always loved those movies and been like drawn to them. And she was like, yeah, you past life were a witch. And it is to everybody,
or an outlier,
sounds crazy.
Or whatever you want to call it.
But it gave me like, it made me happy to hear that. Like it honestly, like I was like, oh hell yes. Like I love that. Or like, I love being able to identify as that. So then she actually was the one who guided me through like learning about, I got a bunch of books and learned about like what witchcraft kind of is and like how to use it and all those things, and it just went from there. And then you and I connected Right when I was actually going through, like, just getting into my witchy stuff.
See, and I don't know if I knew that.
No, you did want to know why? Because I remember I messaged you because our friend Jess told me that you had witch in your lineage, and we were messaging about something, and I was like,
you were like, hey, girl.
I hear you're wink,
wink.
weird like me.
Wink, wink. Yeah, that's right, because we had only been talking via Instagram at that time.
Right, we were just like messaging,
messaging, commenting on pictures and all that stuff. And yes, that's right. You did connect about that, and you said, hey, something's going on in my house. And I'm sorry, family. I have gone into many people's houses.
Right.
And I don't want to know. I don't know if it's an ability. I don't know what it is. I can feel when a spirit
is an ability. Yeah.
Sure. We'll call it that. Well, I can feel when spirits are around. Yeah. I've been able to since I was a small child.
Yep.
Unfortunately, a lot of that was to me was explained as that's evil. You can't do that. But I still could.
Right.
I still could. I would see my grandfather all the time.
Yeah.
When my uncle passed away, I would see him.
Yeah.
So you wanted me to come over to your house and see what was here, and I was able to pinpoint exactly where it is.
Yeah, well, because
what's going on.
Last episode we talked about this medium Cass Huff, which again we'll refer her, and she told me specifically that I had some really fucked up things in my house, and when I told her I was going through a spiritual awakening, and the friend who had stuff, and she was like, she basically confirmed it was like stuff that he had sent my way.
Mm-hmm. Unintentionally, but just the negative energy.
Yeah, and it was one of those things where she helped me clear as much as she could, but then Meg came into the house, and I could still feel it too. But like, I also was like, not fully understanding what.
And I just felt like a loser. Like, this person doesn't know who I am. I mean, we knew each other, but not well.
We were not like close friends by any means.
This person's gonna think I'm crazy. This person's gonna think I'm insane. But I've done it before. I've gone into people's houses.
Yeah.
I do not dispel things. I do not like exercise things.
Right.
That is not what I do. But I can feel what energy is here, and I can help you protect your house.
Right.
Because I've done that for me. I've done that for my mother-in-law. I've done that for my numerous friends.
Yeah. Yep. And our friends.
I basically tell you what to do to protect your house.
Well, and you came in my house, and I honestly wish that we had security cameras to record us and like us running around the house with like I
put on Sympathy for the Devil.
Yeah.
That's my
like we were cleansing the house
song.
And putting crystals everywhere and like guiding the energy where it needed to go. And it was one of those things where it was like, obviously for anybody else watching it, they would have been like, these girls are batshit crazy. But
lunatics.
But when lunatics.
Oh.
Weird. But when you're there and you're in it and you can like feel the energy of it, it was wild. It was one of the most wild experiences of my life because you could feel
it. Like,
it was insane.
Goosebumps up and down, head to toe.
It's like funny thinking that you're so worried about me thinking you're crazy.
So
and I'm sitting here and I was like, this is so cool. Like I have someone who like believes what I say and also like can feel it and feel more than what I do in certain capacities. So
yeah, we each have our definite strengths.
Yeah.
You can definitely see things more. I can once in a while. But I feel what's going on.
I think I have more of the like I can communicate with the other side. Like I get things said to me and I'm able to like more medium does that make sense? Like I was just with a friend yesterday and I connected to her dad and it was, I'm gonna respect her privacy, but it was wild because it was like she doesn't know this side of me and said something and he had been around all day and I just like asked for a word to confirm it was him and I said it to her and I said, this word means nothing to me.
But what does it mean to you?
But if it means something to you, and then yeah, it meant a lot. And it was a word that I didn't know. And anyways, well, I did know it, but I want to talk to you about this off thing because it actually was wild.
Yeah. And I think that's important because we're going to have listeners. We don't want you to feel like you don't have a community. We are all weirdos. I was at and weirdo in the best term.
Best term, yeah.
I was at a Strange Escapes event with Amy Bruni and Adam Berry.
Yes.
Back in November in New Hampshire.
They do Kindred Spirits on Travel Channel.
And they do these events and it was actually it was great. Mm-hmm. It was a great experience. But one of the speakers, his name is John Tenney. I think he was there was a bunch of great speakers. I think he was my favorite speaker of the whole thing.
Yep.
But his whole his whole premise of his speech, his workshop was, we are a room full of weirdos. And it doesn't matter because we are accepting each other's weirdness.
Right.
And if we go out into the world and accept everyone else's weirdness, then we are one less problem.
No, that is 100%.
And like, I almost teared up when he was saying this because it just made me feel so accepted for, like, honestly, one of the first times. I have some family that has totally accepted.
Right,
and
because
totally helped
your husband's side of the family is fully on board with this. Where, like, no one in my life on either side is, well, my family's supportive of it, and my sisters know about it and have experienced things too. But it's also not something that is like,
maybe they don't understand it as well.
Yeah.
They're just supportive of you, but they don't understand it. But yeah, so just in that moment, hearing somebody say, like, you are loved and you're accepted and we believe you.
Yep.
Like, that's
1000%.
great. And if you can go out there and accept and love and believe one other person and make them feel that way, then we've done our job.
It was, this is like off topic, but kind of not. But do you remember the band Hanson? Yeah. Okay. If you sing it wrong, I'm going to literally kick you out of here.
I probably will sing it wrong.
So I grew up a diehard Hanson fan, which was something as like a younger child I got made fun of a lot because, you know, they're a bunch of girls is what they would call them because they had the long hair.
They had the long hair. I do remember that.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But so I've been a diehard Hanson fan my whole life. So like even in my adult years, I have gone to Hanson concerts. And the last one I went to with my sister was like 2 years ago. Well, it's pre-COVID, so maybe 3 years ago. And the main guy, Taylor, said, I want to thank all of you guys for sticking around being our fans, even if it meant being made fun of your whole life. And it was like crazy because it was like them acknowledging that, like, supporting them, they were kind of this like off whatever, but it also was like so validating because it is something where like anytime I say I'm a Hanson fan, people will make fun of me and it's like just what it is, but like fuck, I love them. That I will always. They're like one of my top music people.
Yeah.
And it was very much, I was like, but that's not the same as spirituality, but it was also like, thank you for acknowledging that.
Acknowledging your weirdness.
Yes.
Because we're all a little weird. We are all lunatics in our own way.
This is my favorite. It's a Dr. Seuss quote, which I'm pretty sure he's canceled, but whatever. But it's like, we're all a little weird and life's a little weird. And when we come together in mutual weirdness and call it love, or something like that, like the ending, but it's also, it just is a very like, be weird together.
And that's what we want.
It's a good thing.
That's what we want in this podcast. Yeah. We want to be weird together. We want to put ourselves out there for other people.
Yeah.
To
like if you have experienced this and you don't talk to people about it, like
you can talk to us.
You can talk to us. Message us. Let us know because we've all been there. And we're struggling with it right now.
We're still learning every day. Reyna often sends me TikToks about.
No, I don't. Yes, I do.
About this, that, and the other thing. Every time there's some sort of, cosmic event going on. Every time there's something.
Yeah, because I love astrology, too. I love astrology.
But, like, hey, we got to do this. You better write on those bay leaves and burn them.
Yeah.
Because it's this, and this. You gave me a money one not long ago, and you have to put rice in a thing and
with
the candle.
peppercorns and put it in the far corners of your house.
And I'm like, hey, what do I got to lose?
I love candle magic.
And that's going to be another episode, too, I want to do is candle magic.
Ooh, it's my favorite.
Yes, because, okay, let's talk about the word magic for a minute.
Okay.
Let's talk about the word magic. Another term that I am not comfortable with,
also,
given my upbringing.
Yeah, and spells. That's another, I want to talk about that as well. Yeah.
Here's the thing. With all of this, you are creating good intentions, good energy, manifestation, positivity. Who the hell cares if it comes from a candle or a crystal or words? What is a prayer? A prayer
is manifestation.
It's a manifestation. It could be
God,
considered a spell.
I wish we had that TikTok that said it. It said like a prayer.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, and it said every one of what it is, and it just depends on how you view the world on.
Everyone's
but it's
talking
all the
about
same.
it. No one's denying it.
Right. There is. I will say this: that there is such a thing as black magic, bad magic, like negative. People can
if you
harness
have negative
energy, but there are like people who practice witchcraft who do it negatively and also like seek to harm people and put negative out there.
Yes,
that is a thing, and I want to acknowledge that fully. But
that is not what we do.
It is not what we do at all. And a lot of the people who I know, well, actually, guess what, guys? Everybody that I know practices witchcraft in some way or another. We are just taught in today's...
When you make it a soup, what are you doing? You put a bunch of stuff in a pot, mixing it up?
What about when you sing Happy Birthday?
Oh.
That's candle magic. When you make a wish and you blow your candle out, that's candle magic.
That is a good
No,
point.
It's 100%. It is. And it comes from that. It comes from paganism. It comes from just like a Christmas tree.
Yes.
Comes from paganism.
Yeah, and we're going to have, I'm calling it the Sabbath series.
Yep.
The next one coming up is the summer solstice, or
Yep.
Litha. And
Yep.
we're going to talk about that every Sabbath. We're going to talk about it, and we're going to talk about the origins through paganism and Druidism. And, you know, now a lot of it is still celebrated through Christianity, but
Yep.
its roots are what I think you and I have come to want to live our life by.
Right. And I think that's what it is a lot of the things that you see in religion right now, especially like the big one in the US is Christianity. Mm-hmm. I think if people were to like be able to detach from it for a second from what is like drilled into their head and take a look at some of the practices, not in a bad way. It's not bad. No. But they're all one and the same. It's just called by a different name.
It's just a different name.
And
I had somebody, so I do not practice the religion that I was grew up in. I'm not going to say what religion. I'm not here to bash anything. But somebody asked me when they found out that I was completely out, they said, "Are you going to still celebrate Christmas?" Because their thought was, because I left this religion, I didn't believe in Jesus. That was their thought. That was their assumption.
Right.
And my response was, I will still celebrate Christmas,
right,
because I don't necessarily know for sure if this was a real person, but the love of that person is real.
So,
and that's what I'm going to celebrate. I'm going to celebrate the pure love of what this figure of Christianity represents.
Right. And I was raised in like straight up Christian. All of my uncles were pastors. Like, this is all my dad's side of the family. Like, I was in it, and my parents would send me to church with my grandma every Sunday, and, you know, it was a lot. And I eventually told my mom I didn't want to go anymore because things just didn't add up, didn't make sense. Yeah. But I can tell you now that I've grown into a full-blown adult and been able to, like, look at things from the outside and look at different religions in different ways, that I realize I fully believe in Jesus, but I believe that Jesus was a man. Mm-hmm. And he was a medium.
Oh, I've never thought of it that way before.
He's a Middle Eastern medium man. He's clairvoyant. He is all those things. And like the resurrection of him, that is, you know, could be real. That's a story, whatever. But I like it, and when I feel like when you're brought up in religion, believing in something like that is almost like after you leave it, it almost hurts to like.
It does hurt because that's what you know, and I think it's a shame that it has to be all or nothing.
It has to be all or nothing, yeah.
I think there's so many beautiful aspects of every religion.
Right. No, I do too.
And
but also so many of them are the same that they don't realize.
They are the same.
Yeah.
They are the same. And I cannot wait until our Sabbath series because
Does it go into this a bit?
It does go into this a bit, but one thing when I left the religion that I was brought up in is I started celebrating the Sabbaths because it celebrated the seasons and the changing of the seasons. And I love that.
Yep.
So,
but that is all part of or it can be part of witchcraft.
It can be. I mean,
well, it is.
It is. I mean, but even like Valentine's Day was Lupercalia.
Yep.
Like there's so many just pagan roots to every religion that we celebrate now.
Right.
And I'm so excited to go into it.
And that's not saying that like if you are a person who is like Christian or Mormon or Catholic or whatever, we're not like saying that your religion isn't valid by any means.
No,
but what we're saying is that they all kind of stem from the same place, and they all have bits of paganism in them there, or like.
And everybody is welcome to the table.
Well, and that's what I think the thing where I've struggled the most with religion is like if you don't do this.
Everybody is welcome to our table is what I meant by that.
No, yeah,
like
that's exactly.
If you are any religion, any belief system, whatever, you are welcome to our table. If you are in a religion that you think they're not going to accept this side of you, join us.
Yeah. We're here for you.
We're here for you.
We're the rebels.
I did just text your husband and I said we need a drink refill stat.
Do you know I texted him that?
Yes. No, you didn't.
Look, I did that earlier, and then I said, I was like, what the fuck is taking? No, I said, look, I said at 7:38, I said, hey, Mr. Boo Boo, can you bring 2 more ciders? And he said, what kind?
I said, we need a drink refill stat.
And I said, don't care, tropical. I was like, who are you texting? I knew who I was texting. You're texting my husband standard.
We didn't know we both texted you.
You took too long, Mr. Boo Boo.
I sent you a text immediately.
And you said, what kind? I was in the middle of conversation.
Sorry.
Freaking hot.
Yeah, it is hot. Holy. You guys, we don't have AC in here, and we're dying.
But yeah, if
Mr. Boo Boo, do you want to come say hello real fast?
Mr. Boo Boo. We both texted Mr. Boo Boo separately, unbeknownst to the other person, that we needed a drink
But also,
refill.
I have a question. Have we ever made it through a whole episode needing a drink refill yet?
Hey, Mr. Boo Boo, are you going to come on the... Holy shit, what was that? The window just opened up on itself.
The blinds just rolled up by itself.
I cranked the blind a little bit and went
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure. I did this.
No, we know. Well, now we've moved on, guys, because apparently when we're talking about ourselves, we just need to drink more.
I wonder how much of this is going to get cut. Listen.
I know, probably a lot. The ASMR.
So this is Incline Cider. This is our second favorite cider house to go to. We've actually had some good memories. We've had some bonding at Incline Cider.
Lots of bonding.
Lots of bonding. This is Imperial The Tropics.
One of my favorites. It
is
has
really
a lot
good.
of tropical flavors in it, hence the tropics. And I'm a big passion fruit kind of gal. Passion fruit, anything.
This is perfect for a hot day. Absolutely perfect.
Does it say what was in this one? Not on here. But I'm pretty sure it's like guava, passion fruit,
No,
mango.
it was guava for sure.
Guava, mango, something. Anyways,
it's
delightful. Anyways, okay, back to the show. All right, so now we have, my husband did deliver the ciders. We tried to get Mr. Boo Boo up to do a cameo. No, he's dealing with my children. Our children. And,
those are your
and again,
boys.
we mentioned there's no AC. And so we are in my office, and it is hot. So our other rooms have AC going. This one doesn't, so Meg and I are here sweating like a bunch of...
And that's why we need all this cider. That's why it's going down so fast.
Some whores in church.
I'm sorry, what?
You've never heard the terminology
No.
sweating like a whore in church?
No.
Oh. I'm keeping that in, by the way.
Okay.
Just saying, if you're a whore and you go to church, you sweat because you're apparently naughty. You shouldn't be there.
I haven't been to church in a long
I have
time.
so many things I could say about that.
Yeah.
I haven't been to church. I have been in churches a lot just because of my job. Because I'm a wedding photographer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Nothing wrong with church.
Nope.
Nothing wrong with church. I've just chosen a different path.
Same.
So I guess we should get into my story a little bit.
Let's go about you.
Okay. So I talked a little bit about when I was younger, I could always sense things. And
Yes.
I kind of had to pack that down.
Yes.
Pack that down. And I was fortunate enough to marry into a family who my mother-in-law is very into the spooky things. Like 1,000% into the spooky things. And it took me a long time. And she was so kind, and she was so like, I'm not gonna go too hard because I know this isn't your thing.
Right.
But then a little bit.
Like she was very respectful of your upbringing and who you were or whatever.
But she knew the whole time that I could feel things and sense things.
Well, because I do think as an intuitive person, a lot of times you'll realize your friends are intuitive if they haven't even said anything to you. You'll pick up on it because you do.
And I think, her son is not at all. And
no.
So that's where I come
I
in.
actually asked him on Saturday. I was at your house briefly after a lot of mimosas with one of my other friends. Anyways, and I said to him, I was like, you've grown up with this your whole life and you're like with your mom. Like, what do you think about it? Like, do you ever? And he's like, meh.
Yeah.
Typical man comment. Like,
yeah.
he's like,
I think that's my father-in-law's take on it too. Like,
yeah.
I'm here for the ride.
Yeah.
I'm here for the ride.
That's my husband too, is like, he actually got told by the psychic Cass Huff in the thing that if he didn't want to lose me, he had to get on board with it.
Ooh.
And that was like...
You listen to that, sir.
Well, he
Mr.
did.
Boo Boo.
He embraces it now. He's
Better.
fully on board.
He better.
Also, weird shit starts happening in our house, and he can't like say it doesn't happen, and so then he like questions things. But he also doesn't believe it, but he does.
It's very complicated.
Yeah. Anyways, back to you about... Yes.
Yeah, so, I started having kids. I moved across the country, all this stuff. And I've always been able to sense spirit, see spirit, all that. Couldn't explain it. It just kind of like, oh, it's just my brain. I'm crazy, because that's
how you feel.
That's how you feel, and that's kind of what what I was brought up to believe.
Yeah.
And it was after my third daughter was born, things changed.
Interesting.
Like, and I've read
it was
that.
after my third daughter
Yeah,
that things changed for me.
Interesting. And, like, I started, like, going on the social media.
Yeah.
And I met a person, you know who you are, and she had a very similar upbringing in the religion that I was raised in. And I just one day messaged her, and I said, hey, I just left this religion. I'm having all of these spiritual experiences. I don't know what to... I didn't know she was in the same religion as I was.
Oh.
And she wrote me back, and she's like, same girl. And now her and I are like best friends. We visit each other. We send gifts to each other. Like, our kids talk on social... Like, not on social media, but on their tablets to each other.
Like, who is this? Do I know them?
Vanessa. Mandela Soul School. That
was... Oh, that's who that is. Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. And, you know, we'll talk about her and plug her one of these days.
Yeah.
She has a lovely business.
And she's been very supportive on our social media, which I always appreciate.
She's probably the kindest person you will ever meet in your entire life.
You just, I feel like looking at her on social media, I could see it. Without knowing her. I don't know her, but I could see it.
That's how we connected. We actually didn't see each other in person until 2021.
Crazy.
Her and her family came on a vacation out here, and they came over, and we spent time together.
Cool.
But, like... She was one of the first person I told when I was pregnant with my fourth. Like, all these things. But you need that person. You connect.
Well, and you need that person who's already gone through what you're going through or is experiencing or part of it to help you. Because when you're by yourself and this is happening to you, like you said, you feel crazy. You literally feel insane. And you're like, I was so determined that I was like, something was wrong in the whole upstairs, like bad wrong, that I got tested for bipolar. I got tested for all this because I was like very worried that I had something like that going on.
And there's nothing wrong with that. And if you struggle with something like that, you know, get the help that you need.
Right. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But it was just, but I was wondering, but that's what I thought. I was like, maybe I'm bipolar and this is why this is happening.
Some people go on Sundays and they worship and they do it in a building. I go out for a hike, or I work in my garden, or I go in my kayak, and that is me communing with whatever higher power is up there. I'm not going to pretend to know what it is.
No, and I think, and everyone calls it a different thing.
But it's all
the
like
same.
Like I always say, a rose by any other word.
No, and it is.
It's
like
sweet.
Someone calls it God. That is their thing. I call it source personally.
Creator.
Yeah, I think I like source as like how I feel solid about it.
Yeah.
But I also know that it's the same thing. It's just a different way of viewing it.
It is.
I view it as like an actual like power, not a person.
And it could be. Who knows?
Right. Where like religions will say like,
man.
you know, God is. Yeah, we don't know.
I don't know.
No one knows.
Lizard lady.
Lizard. It could also be a lady. I like to think that it's a lady.
Or it's masculine and feminine at the same time.
Well, it probably is that.
Probably is.
It is that. We know that. But.
Yeah.
Anyways.
But. And if you don't agree with us, that's okay.
Yeah.
You can take us or leave us. And I think that's kind of the biggest growth thing that we're going for right here. This is for us to put ourselves out there. We are letting you know that we accept you for who you are and what you believe, and we are asking for the same in return.
And I also think that this is something about our friendship in this last year that is really, because when I was going through my stuff, I feel like I had to fall in love with myself. I had to stop being so mean and negative and actually like myself. And I then have been guiding you to do that too. Of like,
that's tough for
just
me.
Be more, and it still is. I'm way better than I used to be, but like, just be confident in the person that you are and who you are. And if people don't like that, they can go away. Because what's the point of changing yourself for other people?
It's like Glennon Doyle says, people will either come around or they won't come around. Either way, lovely.
What book is that? It's one of my favorites. Is that... Or is that just a quote from her?
It's a quote from
Untamed.
her.
It's the book Untamed.
Untamed.
It's such a good... If you are on any kind of a journey to like find yourself or you want to be more confident in who you are, that book was unreal.
Yeah, anything by her is unreal.
I've only done the one, so I need to get more.
Ones.
Okay.
Brene Brown as well. I got you a Brene Brown book for Christmas.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
If you are on this journey, I highly recommend Glennon Doyle, Brene Brown.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
My friend got me the book for Christmas, the Wilderness book from Brene Brown. I think I read it in 24 hours.
Yeah. Well, and I also think that another thing is like on this journey being a journey to just be your authentic self. This has nothing to do with witchcraft. This doesn't have to do with spirituality. This is literally you being on a journey to be your authentic and true self.
Yeah.
Which I feel like this podcast is both of us being our authentic and true selves when we're not comfortable with it. And that's what those books are about. Or the Untamed one by Glennon Doyle is. Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
In the Wilderness is about Oh, there's the thunder booms. Y'all hear that?
I was supposed to have a photo shoot tonight, and we weren't going to record, and I had to cancel it. Yeah, for the 80 degrees all day, 85 degrees, and now there's a thunderstorm.
Oh, look at that sky out there.
It's going to be pretty.
I love thunderstorms. I'm actually really excited about this.
So
in the Pacific Northwest, we don't get a lot of thunderstorms. So
just a lot of rain. A lot of gross rain.
Look at that sky. It's
beautiful.
It's so
pretty. It's orange. Looks like tornadoes are about to hit.
Right, it does.
You know the Twister movie when they like look at the sky and they're like, anyways.
But in the wilderness, it says, you have to stand in the wilderness alone.
Yeah.
And you have to be comfortable with that. And then eventually you're going to see other people standing in the wilderness.
Yeah. And I think a big part of spiritual awakening is like, people think of it as like, you say spiritual awakening as in like, you're finding your religion. But no, it's you understanding yourself. It's you understanding your own spirit, like who you are on the inside.
In this world, in this universe, and where you can put your talents and put your energy and put your efforts into yourself and into other people. It's okay to try on people for size and see if they fit, and if they don't, move on.
Yeah.
And you create your own tribe that way.
No, you really do. And there's like some, everyone's with you for a reason, a season, or for life.
Yeah.
And I feel like everyone knows that there are friends that are like that in different things, and I've had those.
I tell my daughter it's like a tree. You have the tree trunk, and those are people that are with you for life. And then you have the boughs of the tree, and they're going to be with you for a long time, but they might break off. And then you have the branches, and the branches, they're going to come and go, but the leaves, they really come and go.
Yeah.
Like,
and there are some for everything, and it's like one of those things you just have to gauge.
Yeah.
Where you're at.
Anyway, back to my story.
Gosh, squirrel.
So moving on, we just had to pause for a minute.
No worry, are we not doing the squirrel story?
Should we do the squirrel story?
Well, I'm telling the squirrel story. It's my favorite story.
Should we save it for a time where squirrels actually come up?
Fine.
Well, stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Squirrels come up so much.
Well, it's because I say squirrel when we get distracted.
Yeah, but there's an actual squirrel story. You know what? Stay tuned. This is our little hook.
Our hook. Next time you hear about a squirrel story, it's a solid one. It is a solid story. Anyways.
So moving on, my mother-in-law came out to visit, and she's like, let's go to the psychic fair in Puyallup. And so we did, and I had a reading. It was crazy. And then I realized that my neighbor was one of us.
Yep.
And so we connected on that, and she has since moved away, but she was the one that was over the other night.
Yeah, okay.
Chatting,
yep.
And so she was a really big part of me coming into my own, and it was still something I was very quiet about for a very, very long time, but the people that were closest to me always knew.
Yeah.
And like I said, there's been many houses in this neighborhood that I've gone into and said, yep, that's something in there.
Yep.
I went into a friend's house one time right up the road from you, and I literally walked in and something said, get out.
Yeah. That was that wedding venue.
Which one?
I won't say the name of it, but it's...
Oh, the one that I went to?
That we did my mini sessions at, that you helped me set up for. And there's...
Oh, yeah, even when I went in there. So you tell what happened to you, and then I'll tell what I got.
It's this, like, really old house, and it's actually my best friend's wedding venue. It's beautiful. And I was actually photographing for a wedding dress company, a store, whatever, if you will, last week at the same venue. I've been there a number of times. Same. Meg just said to me, I'm drunk. She just mouthed it to me, and I said, same. So this might be a lot of rambling, guys. Thank God for editing.
Maybe cut that part out.
Yeah, well, we're going to see. We'll find out. Again, who does the editing? It's me. Hi. But the first time I was in there with my best friend, when she was looking at it for her wedding venue, they opened this attic door.
Yeah.
And all I heard was, get out.
Yep.
And I was like, I'm gone. And then when you were there helping me set up, you could, it's an old man, and he's pissed about
and we went up to
there.
the same area, and what I got was, tell her to stop cursing.
Who the fuck does he think he's talking to?
And
I don't fucking swear.
To you. I said, Reyna, there's a gentleman that would like you to stop swearing so much.
Story of my life. But then last week when I was there, we finished the shoot, and it was like me and a girl who second shoots for me, who knows the side of me a little bit, and then the bridal shop owner. But we all were like, you can feel the energy there. You could just feel it. You can feel a guy. I feel like even if you're not spiritual, I don't know, if you're there, it feels creepy. It's an old house. It's beautiful, a stunning house,
gorgeous.
But you can feel it. And we had to get all the lights turned off. And they're outside and I'm running through the house, turning all the lights off, having a full-on panic attack. Even though I see this shit all the time, I deal with it, but you can't help it when you're by yourself in that place.
Sometimes it gets scary.
Oh,
Sometimes
but you could I could feel him, and I was like, and I kept saying, I'm not going to swear. I'm sorry, sir. I'm being really nice today. I'm controlling myself.
But yeah, experiences like that all the time. And, you know, I have family who their whole thing is they want to find evidence, hard evidence.
Right.
And they've gotten it. And I have gotten video recordings, audio recordings of pure evidence. I've gotten evidence. Last year when I went to the place in New Hampshire, the drawer in what they call the princess room opens by itself. Like, I have it on video. It opens by itself. We're going to do an episode on the Mount Washington
No, I'm excited
Hotel
for that. Yeah.
That was such an experience. I don't need evidence.
Well, and that's the thing is, I also feel like people who need evidence and then they get it sometimes still are like, oh, well, it's not good enough.
Right.
Like, you know, not always does it make them a believer. And that's like their own...
I mean, if you have to have faith in any mainstream religion, why don't you have to have faith in just
that's how I
believe?
feel. Exactly.
Like, I do have faith. Like, there's, you know, oftentimes, there was one time I was teaching in a classroom, and there was this young man who was obviously not, like, he's obviously passed away.
Yeah, it was a spirit.
His spirit kept bugging me, but he was young. He was a young spirit.
Yeah.
He kept bugging me, and I, you know, was going about my day and there was different parts of this room. It wasn't a typical classroom, and there was like this little corner that went into a little reading area, and I went into the reading area towards the middle of the day, and I saw a picture of one of her students that had passed away.
Yeah, and that was him.
And he was just bugging me all day, and I feel like that's been something my entire life is, people bug me, spirits bug me because they know that I know they're there.
I have a friend right now who she knows a side of me a little bit, and I did a reading for her, and I gave her a name, and she's like, no, it doesn't mean anything. That spirit has not left me alone. It's been 2 months now. I am constantly being prodded in something because they are there.
Yeah, typically I see family members.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's been times where I literally had a spirit walk right out into the middle of the road, and I thought I was hitting a person.
Yeah, and see, mine is very different from that. I don't always see family members. Usually, especially if they're close to me, I never see anyone. So like, my dad passed when I was 9. This is something that I feel like is, so anytime I say my dad on the podcast, usually it's my stepdad who is amazing and wonderful. It was my dad. But also you're
blessed to have 2 fathers in this life.
But also my real dad was my dad. He was very much a part of my life, fully my dad. He just died when I was young, and then we got our stepdad who's amazing, and he's just currently been my dad longer, and so I find it easier just to say my dad than my stepdad all the time, but I go to and from. Anyways. And I always want to connect to my real dad, and I don't. But then other people will have things that have to do with him, and I'm always jealous. But I also think that it's, when as a medium, Sylvia Brown said this, which it made sense. If it's too close to you, it's not going to come to you. Like, you won't be able to see it.
And I believe that I've also had experiences of people very close to me. When my girls were little, I had a rocking chair in their room. And I'd go in, and there was this older woman who would be in the chair. And at this point in my life, it didn't scare me. Because I could tell if it was a good spirit, or like good energy or bad energy.
I think that is something that people don't realize, is that once you start seeing it all the time, it stops scaring you as badly.
Yeah.
Not that it's okay, but at the same time, like, you stop getting so afraid.
And you can ask them to stop. And
usually they're respectful. Yeah.
But this woman was in the rocking chair, and I remember doing laundry one day, and she was sitting in the rocking chair, and I said, "What are you doing here?" And she goes, "I'm here for the children." And every time I came in, I'm like, "Well, what are you doing here?" I'm just here watching the children. And she had a very specific look. Mm-hmm. She had a crooked mouth. She had brown, like, I remember her very specific look. So finally I asked my mother-in-law, I'm like, "Do you know this person?" I described it, and she sent me a picture. It was her mother. It was my husband's grandmother.
Wow.
And it was like, that's the woman I was, because she had a crooked smile.
But that's not, so when I say someone who's close to you, it's someone you've been super close with, like, as you've grown and then they passed away.
Yeah.
A lot of times people like us can't connect to those people because they're too close. That person, or that grandmother, because you never met her.
I never met her.
Wasn't too close because you'd never met her.
Correct.
So it's like weird how that kind of, like, because it is a bizarre thing.
Yeah, but it was her, and she would just sit in the rocking chair. I'm just here for the children.
It's one of those things that, like, you say that, and then we were talking about it, and my grandmommy on my mom's side, her mom came to mind, and she used to tell a story about a crooked mouth family. And it was just, like, so funny because, like, she was one of the people I was like, oh, I'll bring her up. And then I didn't say anything. And then you were like, crooked mouth. And it's, like, a story about a crooked mouth family who couldn't blow out a candle because every time they blew
like,
they blew up. Yeah. And it was, like, but it was funny that you just said that. And you're like, crooked mouth. And I was like, that reminds me of my grandma. Anyways.
Isn't that funny? Just more connection. And I think that's something that people need to understand is that you and I have so many weird connections through life. And your husband and I have even...
You guys are fucking annoyingly the same.
There was...
in the best way, but also the fucking worst way.
I think even my husband gets annoyed because we're the same person.
Yeah.
Your husband and I.
Yeah.
Are the same person.
To be clear, I don't get annoyed with you because you're like my husband.
No.
Yeah.
No. But it's different when you're married to the person.
Well, no, I just get annoyed that you guys are like, they'll be like, oh, we both like raw meat. As in, like, they like, you guys fucking like your steaks like bleeding and mooing.
He was making steaks the other day. How do you like it? I said, mooing.
Or like,
and you just rolled your eyes.
They will come out with jokes that are like Lord of the Ring jokes. And I'm sitting over here like, what the fuck? I'm not mad about it though, because it makes life much more fun.
It's good.
Yeah.
We have such a good bond and such a good connection. And I think that's why we wanted to start this podcast, because we do have that connection and we want to share that connection with other people, and we want to create our own tribe of lunatics.
Yeah.
Because we are the weirdos, man.
We are. Are we locking this down now finally?
Are we locking this down that we're the weirdos?
No, like ending the podcast of us.
Do we have to? This is
rambling.
fun.
Are we just going to sit here and ramble about ourselves all night?
Yeah, that's not the point.
Solid. Except for I'm getting a bit drunk. The lunatic soup is hitting hard.
But that's kind of the premise.
It is, but I'm only halfway through the second. But I guess we did I had a glass of wine and a vodka shot before.
Oh Lord,
Megan.
Don't call me that.
That's your name. Oh, it's like you and my husband won't be called by their real names. My husband's real name is Thomas.
I called him
his
Thomas
nickname
once,
is
and
Tex.
he was not happy.
No, but if I call him Thomas, he gets so mad, and I'm like, that's literally your name. You can't get mad at me for it.
It's your name.
Megan. My name is Reyna. You can call me Reyna.
Reyna. Yeah, so here we are now. I fully embrace all of it. I've left, mainstream religion. I've decided for myself and for my family that that's not what I want.
Yep.
And I want I want to be ruled by the seasons. I'm not ruled by anybody. I don't want to be ruled by anybody, but I want to live my life in sequence with the seasons.
Yep.
In giving thanks to the earth, giving thanks to
whatever
higher spirit there is.
But we both work with crystals. We both work with herbs, lots of herbs and different things.
Lots of herbs. Like I said, I am an avid gardener. I love gardening.
And I've introduced Megan to some candle magic, which is like what I love doing, candle magic.
Interesting.
Yeah.
To say the least. And I do like it, and I do like the significance that it has. And, I have some cousins, another story for another day, but I just found them. Yeah. Like within the last few years. We didn't know each other existed. And we all got together last fall, and we had our own little candle ceremony in my backyard. And it was one of the most beautiful experiences of my entire life. So
one of the things, I have a witchcraft book that is called Witchcraft and Manifestation, which you've been trying to get me on manifestation for like a year. And anybody who's listening who knows what manifestation is, it's like basically where your thoughts and your everything becomes your reality. And so manifesting is like what you think the most is what you get. So if you think about being broke all the time, you're going to be broke. If you think about being rich all the time, you're going to be rich. There's so much more into that than that. But anyways, and so witchcraft and manifestation, and especially like candle magic, it's essentially you putting your manifestations out into the world, and then you're using the help of the earth, fire, wind, rain, herbs, which is earth, which we come from the earth, so why wouldn't we use and you use that to help propel your manifestation. So when I do my candle magic, I don't think I'm casting a spell. I'm not sitting here like I'm casting a spell. The energy that you're putting out into the universe. And I put that energy into the candle that I light, and I put it in just like when I blow out a candle for happy birthday. I am putting my positive intentions into that candle that I'm sending out. Just like a wish. It's the same. One of my very dear friends, I don't know if you listen to it, but if you do, Kemish, hello. Her mom is one of us. Mm-hmm. And her mom always said to me, like,
I mean, I've known her since I was 14 years old. She's always said, what you think about, you bring about.
Yep.
That's what it is.
100% exactly what manifestation is what you think about, you bring about. And the second you realize that, and also the second you start feeling bad for yourself that your life is so shitty and it's so this, and you realize that your life is the way it is because of the thoughts that you have.
Yeah.
Which is not your fault. Because sometimes
there are circumstances that are beyond your control that you cannot
there
help.
are certain things.
You can help how you respond. You can determine how you respond.
But also, like, none of us are over here like millionaires rolling in the dough, living in mansions. You know, if we were professionals, if I was a professional on manifestation, not yet.
Let's see how this podcast goes.
I actually just spoke negativity out into the world, which I hate doing.
God damn it, Reyna!
But it is something that when you realize it, like, when you focus on something, it's what comes into your reality. Yeah. So it's the focusing on something and then using the energy of the earth, which is what I love to do. Yeah. And that's how I use it for my manifestations, is essentially.
And I think that's beautiful, and I have taught my children that in ways, you know, when my kid is having a hard time in a sport or in a test or something like that, I tell her, you have to have the positive thinking. You have to have the positive energy. Otherwise, if you're thinking negatively all the time, you're going to bring that about.
You always visualize the outcome. Yeah. Visualize the outcome you want, you desire, and that's how to get it the best way.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that we always, not always, I think once you start accepting this, you're going to find your tribe. Obviously, Reyna and I found each other. You guys, we've only been friends for like a year.
Not even yet.
In June.
We're going to have our anniversary party.
Ooh, are we allowed to go out then?
We're allowed. She's been trying to make us go out, and I told her we're not allowed. We got cut off after last time. Maybe I did.
I think you did.
No, we both did. Fuck off. You mean me after this last weekend? That was mimosas. I was fine. I was like drunk on and happy on mimosas for Mother's Day weekend. And I came over to your house. I was high on life.
In the backyard. The kids were on the splash pad. The dads were fine. And everybody had a great time. But,
that's
you know, I think we want to find our tribe.
Yeah. But I think everybody does. They want to find someone who understands them.
And sometimes it's family. Like I talked about my cousins who I just met. When we all got together for the first time, we all realized that we all had different things. Like one of them, they're sisters, but they didn't know. One of them was a Reiki practitioner.
Interesting, yeah.
The other one could see spirits. Like, we also, in that case, maybe it's hereditary. And sometimes maybe it's not.
My older sister has kind of, like, fought this.
Hello, older sister.
Older sister. She listens to every episode, too.
I've only met her once, but
I actually think she's been waiting for a call-out, but she doesn't want it because she's so shy. But she, the other day, said to me, she's like, I got some shit going on, and, like, told me what she has going. I'm not going to say it out loud because that's her business. But I was like...
do we need to go? Because I would gladly go to where she lives.
Yeah, she lives on Maui. Man, she lives in Maui. And I said to her, I said, oh, it makes me so happy to hear that you're, like, experiencing something. And she's like, I know, I fought it for so long. And I was like, yeah, bitch, welcome to my life. Mm-hmm. I know my younger sister experiences stuff. Our youngest sister is... I don't know that she'll ever get on this board, but I also don't know that she won't.
Well, you know, one of the cousins that I met when our grandmother died, we were all connected at that point. And, you know, my grandma was 95. Like, she had a long, wonderful life. Right. It's sad, but she had a great life.
No, those are the best ones. So they've lived their lives and,
yeah. And I went to go and contact the cousins. And one of the cousins had already contacted her sister and said, did Grandma just die? Because she's sitting in my kitchen right now. So a lot of times it is hereditary, and I just grew up not knowing this side of my family. Right. So once I met this side of my family, it was so freaking validating to know that
it's somewhere as well.
Dad, it's from you.
Yeah. And my mom's side of the family, we're from a family of all women.
Oh, yeah, you are
generations of all women.
Heavy.
And I was told that our family was like the witchy lineage. But then I also, one of my cousins who I was raised like sisters with, and I love her, over Christmas, she had a sticker on a water bottle that said witchy woman. And I kind of looked at her and I was like,
wink, wink.
Because it's not something I discussed with them at all. Right. And then my other cousin is big into gardening and she does everything by the moon. And she's very, and I was like,
gardening is a big thing.
Yeah, but whether you are acknowledging it as like witchy or not, that is essentially what it is. Like at the end of the day.
Yeah. So will you guys be just weirdos with us? Will you guys be lunatics with us? Because
I feel like everyone who's listened this long, I feel like they're on board.
I feel like you're on board. And if you're new, Join us.
Well, if they've listened to this far into this episode.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, they are 1,000.
Good night.
You either think that we're really cool. I think it's just like whether you feel like you've been weird your whole life and not understood because you're weird, or whether you were accepted your whole life but had a side of you that you never were able to tell people. Mm-hmm. Which there's all of the things. Like, we hope that this is a safe space. We hope we're in a safe space. Please tell me I'm in a safe space.
We're going to go into this stuff. So this is going to be a side that we haven't really shown too much. But we're going to have some episodes coming up that are going into more of this. If you want to call it witchiness, you can call it that. If you want to call it spiritualist, you can call it that. If you want to call it more natural side of things, you can call it that. I don't care what you call it. You can call it weird. I don't care. But we're going to go into that. We're going to still keep our ghost stories because I've always been into the macabre. I've always been into the creepy and the kooky.
I've always been into ghost stories. I love ghost stories. Those are my favorite. Like, or watching the shows on, like, Paranormal Activity, or, like, seeing all the ones where it's, like, poltergeist shit terrifies me, but I also love it. But it's because I'm drawn to it. Anyways,
Incline
cheers.
Cider. And if you have any cider that you want us to try, like, please send us a recommendation.
Yeah. Just send us, if you have a favorite one, let us know.
I have family in Michigan that's like, ooh, I want to try some cider. I'm like, well,
that hasn't had it, and now they're interested. Yeah.
Yeah, I love cider.
It's good stuff. The Lunatic Soup is
good stuff.
Good.
And if you have any stories of the creepy, the kooky, the legends, if you've seen a cryptid, if you've been haunted, if you've had a spiritual experience.
If you had a spiritual awakening, do you want to tell us about how you don't feel understood and then you are now feeling like, holy shit, now I get it. Like,
join our tribe. Oh, and another thing, I can see auras. I've always been able to since I was a little girl. I thought everybody could see them. No, apparently not.
I cannot. That is something I cannot do.
So we'll have an episode on that.
Yeah.
But you can find us at Lunatic Soup Podcast on Instagram.
And TikTok, obviously. It's just my beautiful face that you see the whole time because we're working on getting Meg in there, but, you know. Slowly. Also, it's hard because we record, but I also have to be doing social media all the time.
And also, we have 7 children between
we're so busy.
And work and all the things.
So it's
we just had to pause to say goodnight to her children.
Yeah, it's a lot of my dumb face that you guys see, which I apologize. And it's not a dumb face, that's like, don't talk negative about yourself.
Do not talk negative about my friend like that.
I'm just saying that I might see myself sometimes.
And why do we go into these southern accents?
Well, you see, we go into these southern accents, and when I get some alcohol in me, you don't want to tell the squirrel story, don't you say squirrel.
The squirrel story right now.
Okay, but what?
But pretty soon.
Pretty soon we will.
Pretty soon
but we do occasionally, when we've had too much of the Lunatic Soup, the southern accent comes out.
Shit, you've given some birthday greetings.
Oh, but that's Lunatic Soup is still. Actually, no, it's totally sober. I have a redneck alter ego.
What's her name?
Well, it used to be Jandis, and then I named my dog that, so I think my name's Felicia.
You know what? Her husband wanted to give me a
redneck name?
Redneck alter ego.
What is it?
He said, I was so actually mad at him about this one. No shade. But he said, Mama June. Like,
I mean, who's the no shade to? Just Mama June? Because I feel like anybody who's watched any of the series will be like,
you know
solid.
What? Mama June is a beautiful human being, but I do not.
Yeah, she got on drugs and then left all of her kids, and like her other kids raised her kids.
I didn't know that at all.
Because I was a diehard Honey Boo Boo fan, and anyways.
You're not Mama June. I resemble Mama June.
You're not Mama June. That was messed up. We're gonna get you a new redneck name.
Mr. Boo Boo done messed up.
And also, if you're offended by the term redneck, I'm sorry.
Hey, my family's from the Appalachian Mountains, half of them anyway. So I feel like I can.
And half my family are straight up what you would call rednecks, and so I feel like I can say it.
I'm sorry.
It's my alter ego, though. It comes out. It's a good time.
This isn't just for you guys. This actually legit happens a lot.
No, and isn't it our favorite?
There's a dog.
Oh, good Lord, Jandis is trying to break into the room.
Get into the house.
God damn it, Jandis. All right, we better wrap this shit up. We're at an hour and a half. This is our longest one we've ever done.
But we wanted to do this. You guys,
so much editing for me.
We wanted to do a kind of get to know us. This was not scripted. This was not typical. You know, we're probably going to do some of these now and then just because, like, let's check in. Maybe not our weekly one, but maybe like a little bonus.
No, like maybe once a month of bullshit that comes out of our mouths.
The bullshit hour.
After a few Lunatic Soups. Anyways, follow us on the socials. Send us your things.
LunaticSoupPodcast@gmail.com.
Go get yourself a glass of Lunatic Soup if you haven't already.
Please like us.
If they've listened this long, they do like us.
I hope so.
Or they're just questioning their own sanity. Maybe I am too.
Okay, we gotta go put kids to bed. Good night.
Good night.